The lost people of Scotland, the mystery of the Picts. Long before castles crowned the Highlands, before clans and tartans, before the name Scotland even existed, there was another people. Fierce, secretive, and unlike any other in ancient Europe. They called themselves nothing that we can read today. The Romans called them Picti, the painted ones. To history, they became the Picts. A people whose symbols carved into stone still defy understanding, whose language has vanished, and whose bloodline may yet flow, unseen, through modern Scotland. This is their story, a tale of mystery, survival, and disappearance. A story that begins on the mist-covered hills of ancient Caledonia. 2,000 years ago, the northernmost frontier of the Roman Empire ended at a wall, Hadrian's Wall, stretching across what is now northern England. Beyond it lay a land that Rome never tamed. Wild, forested, mountainous. To the Romans, it was a place of ghosts and barbarians. To its people, it was home, a land of lochs, glens, and sacred stones. When Roman generals marched north to conquer it, they met resistance unlike any they had seen before. The tribes here fought not for empire or glory, but for the earth itself, for freedom. In the 1st century AD, Roman legions under Agricola advanced into northern Britain. They built forts and roads, seeking to bring all of Britain under Roman control. In the year 83 AD, at a place called Mons Graupius, the Romans claimed victory over the northern tribes. But even Tacitus, the Roman historian, wrote that the victory meant little. The tribes simply melted into the forests and hills. When the Romans left, their forts were burned, their roads reclaimed by nature. The north remained untamed, and from those tribes, scattered and defiant, would rise a new identity, the Picts. When the Roman Empire began to crumble in the 4th and 5th centuries, the Picts saw opportunity. They pressed southward, reclaiming lands once held by the empire. And as Rome withdrew from Britain, the Picts began to rise. By the early 6th century, the Picts were no longer loose tribes. They had formed organized kingdoms, Fortriu in the north, Sursum in the east, and others across the Highlands. Their rulers were fierce and independent. Unlike many early societies, Pictish kingship may have been matrilineal, passed through the mother's line. This unusual system may explain how their dynasties endured for centuries despite constant warfare. In the 6th century, Christian missionaries arrived from Ireland. Among them was Saint Columba, who sailed from Iona to meet King Brede, ruler of the northern Picts. The meeting, described by monks, is one of the few glimpses we have of Pictish life. Columba was said to have performed miracles before the king, who later allowed the spread of Christianity across his lands. But conversion did not erase the old beliefs overnight. Pictish art continued to blend crosses with ancient symbols, serpents, beasts, and circles, as if the people carried both faiths at once. Their world was transforming, but their identity remained deeply rooted in the land and its mysteries. While the Picts were building their kingdoms, new powers were rising around them. To the west came the Scots from Ireland, the kingdom of Dalriada. To the south, the Angles established Northumbria. To the north and east, Norse raiders would one day arrive from across the sea. The Picts were surrounded, yet they endured. Their warriors were renowned for speed and cunning, striking in small bands, using the rugged landscape to their advantage. For centuries, they kept invaders in Roman writings around defending their independence with ferocity. It meant the painted people, likely referring to their habit of decorating their bodies with blue dye or tattoos. Whether this was true or Roman imagination, no one can say for certain. The Picts were not a single tribe but a confederation of many, united by shared customs, language, and enemies. They lived across what is now eastern and northern Scotland, from Fife to Orkney. Archaeology shows they built strong hill forts, stone houses, and intricate artwork. They raised standing stones carved with strange symbols, spirals, animals, warriors, and geometric marks that no one has fully decoded. Their art speaks to a sophisticated culture, rich in meaning, yet silent to us today. The Pictish stones remain one of the greatest enigmas of European archaeology. Over 300 have been found across Scotland, some carved with beasts and weapons, others with what appear to be sacred signs or clan emblems. The symbols are unlike any known writing system, though some scholars believe they may record names, genealogies, or territorial claims. Others think they served as spiritual icons, messages to the gods, not to men. One stone shows a serpent and a mirror, another a crescent and a double disc. These motifs repeat again and again, as if telling a story we can no longer read. Who carved them? What did they mean? No one knows, but they remain silent witnesses to a forgotten language. For centuries, Rome controlled southern Britain, while the north remained wild. Between them stood a vast frontier of walls and watchtowers. The Picts raided across the border many times, swift attacks that struck Roman forts and vanished into the hills before pursuit could begin. To the Romans, they were savages. To their own people, they were defenders of freedom. In the year 685 AD, a moment came that defined the Pictish spirit. The Northumbrian king Edgefrith led a massive army north, seeking to conquer the Picts once and for all. They met at a place called Nectansmere, near modern Dunwich. The Picts, led by King Brede mac Belly, used the terrain to their advantage, luring the enemy into narrow ground between a lake and a hill. There, the Northumbrians were trapped and destroyed. The victory was total. Edgefrith was killed, his army annihilated. Never again would the English threaten northern Scotland. For a time, the Picts stood as one of the strongest powers in Britain. In the century that followed, the Picts built stone forts, churches, and monuments. Their kings ruled over vast territories. Art flourished. The intricate carvings at Meagle, Aberlemno, and Duplin tell of a culture rich in skill and vision. But beneath the surface, the Picts faced internal challenges, rivalries between kingdoms, disputes over succession, and the constant threat of invasion from Norse raiders who began attacking the coasts in the 8th century. Still, the Picts adapted. They traded, intermarried, and absorbed new influences. They were survivors, masters of endurance in a harsh land. By the 9th century, a new force was rising: the Gaels, descendants of the Scots from Ireland who had settled in western Scotland. Over time, these Gaels grew in strength, forming alliances with Pictish leaders through marriage and warfare alike. In 843 AD, a man named Kenneth MacAlpin united the Picts and the Scots under one crown. Historians call him the first king of Alba, the foundation of modern Scotland. But in uniting the two peoples, something was lost. The name Pict disappeared from the records within a generation. Their language vanished. Their symbols ceased to be carved. It was as if a nation had dissolved into another, leaving only whispers behind.